But I just wanted to like ask about like your journey with becoming, like, deciding what you wanted to do, and then like how you started pursuing it, and if you like had any like doubts and you like switched majors or.
I did.
You know?
I started off as a business major.
Oh, really?
And I went here, and was a business major for one semester,
Mm-hmm.
and then changed to math, secondary education. And so I knew at that point that I wanted to teach. I kind of always thought I did, but I don't know why I started off as a business major. It just seemed like the thing to do. But
Is it because you liked math?
yeah, and I did like the math, and and then just the business calculus, I guess, would have been the only class that I took in the business major, and then really liked that, and so switched to the math secondary, and stayed with that the whole time. I was also kind of a double major with French.
Really?
I'd always done a good bit of French in high school, so I at one point taught French and math for a few years.
Oh, really?
But I've lost it since then. But and so I stayed. I never changed after that. I switched to the secondary math.
Did you want to teach like high school initially?
I did, yeah, and I did, and I started off teaching high school.
Oh.
When I finished, I taught high school for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And then had my child, and wanted a little more flexible schedule. And I had a friend here at the university, one of my old professors here, that was going on sabbatical for a year in Washington, and so he wanted me to come here and teach these. He used to teach these courses, the elementary ed courses.
Oh, really?
And so he wanted me to come here and take his place for the year that he was gone. And so I came here, and that was in '98. And so I came, and then just never left. So then just have been here since then. So I've been here 21 years.
Oh, wow.
So this is my 34th.
So have you been like
teaching
teaching math, or just like teaching teachers how to teach math?
I teach the teachers. I've always taught all of those, but then off and on during the years I teach.
Hopefully it's still. Yeah.
I teach business calculus. I usually do that every spring, and then I, for several years, taught it in the summer online. And but the last couple of summers I've taken the summer off and don't do that anymore. And I taught some statistics over the years, and so a couple of the other calculuses. Just depends. When something's kind of an odd thing that comes up that they need more people, I'll teach one or two.
Yeah. So you're just kind of
random things here and there, but these are kind of the mainstays. I usually always teach these, and y'all are really the first group that I haven't had you for all three classes. I usually have the same group for all three of the sequential courses. So it's kind of strange because I didn't have y'all for the first one, and I won't have you for the third one. And that's mainly, I retired in June, technically.
Oh, really? And you're still here?
And so then I got rehired because I really wasn't ready to retire. I just finished, the Terry program. Do you know anything about Terry?
I don't.
That's the teacher. It's the early retirement incentive. So you can, participate in Terry, but when Terry ends, which it ended last year, then you have to officially retire. And so then I got rehired to come back, and then I can teach 2 classes a year. So I did my 2 classes this semester, so I can't teach in the fall. There's a maximum.
That's kind of nice. So it's kind of like weans you off a little bit.
Yeah, it did. So I had, so I'll do that and that's just because there's the legislature, you can only make a certain amount of money from the state once you retire. So that's why I would teach 2 classes every semester and be fine with that, but they won't let me do that. So, so I'll just stay with 2 classes a year.
That's
fun. But and that's good. And then I don't teach in the summer anymore. But probably from here on out, since I'm only doing a couple things, it'll always be these classes. I'll probably just stick with these. And we've kind of got it right now to where I guess 2 or 3 different people are teaching them. Who did you have for 1150?
I had Professor Gallagher.
Yes. Because she'll do like 1 next semester, and I think there's somebody else in education, Gomez, and I think Bannister is doing.
Yeah, there was a guy that I think that we had as like a sub a few times.
Yeah,
I don't remember what his name was.
I think that's probably was Gomez, or Taminsky. But like I say, it's kind of good because now there's a lot of different people doing it. It's good and bad, but at least, y'all kind of have a little variety. I always feel guilty when I taught all 3 of them in a row, that I had everybody the whole time. Although that's consistent, it kind of,
Yeah.
I know where you've been and I know what you've had. But it's also good to have different people.
professors. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just going to separate the questions.
I did. I got my master's in secondary math and then got the 30 hours above the master's in just straight math. I just took straight math classes. And I didn't ever take any more French. Like I said, I had probably as many hours in French as I did in math when I finished.
Oh, really?
And then, but just in high school, I taught a few years of French. But the master's was in straight math. And I got that probably 5 years after I graduated from here.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask, too, is that a lot of teachers say, like, that you should graduate after the 4 years, find a job, and then, like, a lot of the times they'll pay for you to get your master's.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get your master's here, too?
I got my master's here, too, yeah. I think I maybe paid for one class.
Really?
In my master's, yeah. Because I came back and they offered so much. In the summers, I took, classes every summer, and I took classes at night. But I was teaching at the high school here in Clemson. I was teaching at Daniel. So I was right, in the area. But we had a lot of courses that they even came to the high school. We had enough people there to make a class. Just math teachers, maybe in the whole county, in Pickens County. But yeah, I paid for, I think, one class.
That's
master's.
awesome.
So that was really good.
Yeah, that's
like
what
I said, I kind of spread it out a little bit. I took it over the course of a few years, but that was okay. But
so
not
they
that there's
paid
anything.
For it?
No, but it's just that there were free courses. The courses were free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just because they were courses specifically for teachers. And most of the time in the summers they were either grants. A couple of times I did grants. A couple of times we even made money taking the classes because
really?
we did participate in doing like it was grant research, and so yeah, it was good.
I feel like teachers have like a lot of like financial help too.
Yeah.
Does it certify you? Because I know you have to like take like a bunch of like tests and stuff to be a teacher. And is it certified for South Carolina? Like, are you from South Carolina and you wanted to teach in South Carolina?
Yes. So yeah, I never went to another state.
So then, I mean, I don't know if it's changed, but I know that I'm probably gonna have to take some tests, like probably like my senior year. Is that for like certification in South Carolina? Like, what if I wanted to like teach back home?
Well, you'll take like I don't know how much of this has changed, but generally you take like a national certification. That's kind of an overall. But then you have to take something for the specific state.
Okay.
To get certified in that state.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm thinking that I wanted to graduate here and then go get my master's
somewhere else.
Yeah. Like I'm probably gonna end up teaching in Boston because that's where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
Or like somewhere in the north, but I know that like you have to take like a specific test for Massachusetts.
Right.
So I was thinking that it would probably be easiest to like get my master's in like a school in Boston.
Right.
And then go to whatever school is there.
And what year are you?
I'm a freshman.
You're a freshman, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be a sophomore next year.
Like I said, I don't know how much has changed with the certification, because like I could teach either. I didn't get certified in French, but I could teach one class just because I had enough hours to do it.
Oh,
so I didn't have to have the certification. So it depends. I think it depends on what you're doing too. But since I was full-time math, I had to have the certification for that. But they do so many things now where they pull people out of industry and things like that, and you get provisional certificates for a year, and sometimes you can do that. Like if you had a certificate in Boston and then went somewhere else, you could get like a provisional certificate.
I know sometimes like some parts of it like transfer or whatever through the state. So I'll have to like look into that when I start getting more into it. But I was gonna ask also, why did you like want to become like a teacher? You know?
I think I just always, I thought that's what I would do. We used to, my family, we laugh about this. There are 4 of us, 4 children, and we lived across the street from our elementary school. And at the end of every year, which just sounds terrible, but we would go, because they would throw away all the old materials from the year. We always got them all out of the trash.
Oh my goodness.
Then, played teacher all the time. So
that's
we had
what I did
all
with
the
our
workbooks,
kids.
all
Yeah.
the, we would, you probably didn't dig in the dumpsters to get it, but we did. And we would just play school all the time. And
That's exactly what I did.
my mom still laughs because my 3rd grade teacher used to send me home. I used to grade her papers. I graded the math papers for my
In
3rd
grade?
Yeah. And Mom used to laugh. I would bring home the big teacher's edition book, and Mom said, "I don't think this is good. I don't think this is a good thing."
That's so funny.
But that's what I always did that, and she was funny, but I just think it was always back there, which is why I don't know why I started off majoring in business.
That's the
just,
thing, is that I don't know why I didn't realize it sooner.
Yeah.
But I just remember like I was in like a shower like on like 2:00 in the morning after I was just doing homework, and I was like didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I was like, why am I not a teacher? Because I've been like a coach for 4 years, and I'd worked with like the science program with like little kids. I was like, why would I not become a teacher? Because I used to play like teacher with my brother and sister all the time. We would have like the big like calculus books from like my parents, and like we would pretend we knew what was going.
That's good. I didn't have that. I think for me, part of it too is that nobody in my family was a teacher. So many people here, everybody was a teacher, but nobody and I think that's why it just didn't dawn on me that I could do that.
Well, and everyone says don't become a teacher because you don't make a lot of money. Like do something else, and it's like, I guess I realized like it's more important to do something that you love more than like do something that you make a lot of money.
It is much more. And did y'all have teacher cadet in your high school, or a teacher cadet program?
I think someone told me about it. Is it like student like you is it?
You kind of is. We didn't have it when I was in high school, but my high school has it now because my son went through it. And you just are like a you work like with teachers at a university or other high schools. You have I think you work with a middle school teacher, and you would go and like once a week and help with that class and help kids.
We had our class. We had a class that only seniors could take. It was called Internship to Career.
Right.
And basically, like whatever you were going into major, you like worked with somebody in that field.
Oh, that's good.
So I, emailed my old 3rd grade teacher who I loved, and I was like, can I come work in your classroom? So I would go like 2-3 times a week and like help with like a 3rd grade class.
That's good. See, I think that makes a big difference. Like
it does.
We didn't have that, so again, it never dawned on me to think about being a teacher, but I'm glad they have that, something like that in most high schools now, so that people can try it out.
Yeah, and it helps so much because I knew that I wanted to become a teacher. And originally I was like, oh, like 3rd grade's like a good age, and so I interned with my 3rd grade teacher, and I was like, there's no way I can do 3rd grade.
3rd grade's hard. That's a
well,
hard year.
I thought that I wanted to teach all the subjects, but I can't even like describe my hatred for like English. I just don't like reading. I don't like writing. I just don't have the attention
That's like
span
my hatred
for it.
For history.
And history, those 2 subjects, I just don't want to write, I don't want to read, I just, like with math, there's one answer, and that's that, So, I was like, why do I have the brain of like a 3rd grader, why don't I like teach like math that age,
The only problem, there aren't many, or it's not as widespread that there is like a math specialist, there aren't many.
That's the thing.
Schools that do that, because I even looked into that at one point when I was here and had been teaching these courses, and I thought about going back and specialize and doing a math specialty in an elementary school for a few years while my kids were in elementary school. And but for me, it would be like a starting over to get certified to be able to do that. And I kept saying, how can I not be certified, to do that?
If you're above, you
even
can.
like the list of courses that I was going to have to take, including the 3 that I was teaching at the time, I said, well, that doesn't really make any sense. I don't want to start over.
I think it's because you have to take so many,
it's
like,
all the other things.
childhood development stuff.
I would have had to take all that. I had taken that kind of stuff for secondary, but I would have to go back and do all of that again for elementary. Even if I just wanted to specialize in the math, I was going to have to do it all. So that certainly wasn't worth it for me at age 40 or whenever that was. I was looking at that.
Yeah, I don't really know quite how I'm gonna work that out, because like I also like science,
Right. Well, and that's the case too. A lot of schools have that.
So it's like if I had to do one of those things where I was teach math and science, then I would have no problem as long as there's no history and writing involved.
Yeah, I don't know how my son's a history major, and I don't know how I gave birth to that, because I cannot stand it. And I just cringe every time I get an email saying, "Can you read this paper? Proof this paper." It just kills me.
I said to my advisor, I was like, I want to take the least amount of like writing, history, literature classes that are possible.
And see, I still love that. I still love history. I mean, English and literature and all that. It's just the history that
I just don't have, like, I'm just a bad reader and writer, because like I have slight dyslexia, and it just takes me like so long to just, and I don't like have like the patience or like concentration for that, like reading and writing. I love like discussions and stuff. Like if you watch, like can like watch like a movie, or if somebody tells me like what happened in a book, then I can like make connections and stuff, but I don't like to read or write about it. I'd rather just say it,
Makes sense.
But yeah, that's why I prefer math. Plus it's like one of those, I feel like it's one of those classes that you can like make like fun.
You can.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there's so many like things, like I just remember like that my teachers did and stuff. Because I always had the best teachers, that's why I was like, I wanted to be a teacher.
That's a good background.
Yeah.
But you didn't have anybody scary along the way.
Yeah, no. I can't really think of, I had a few, but that didn't, really ruin my experience. Yeah, for the most part I had a lot of good teachers. I guess my only other question is, like, what advice would you give to me, like, going into the rest of, like, college, and then, like, after when I graduate and stuff?
I think one of the biggest things, which y'all, the school of education does a good job with this now, but kind of get any opportunity you can to be in a classroom, like every chance you get, if you have the option of doing that, or which I think you would take that as opposed to writing a paper or whatever. But when we were here, it was really all classes up until that last semester, your senior, and you student taught. And so that was, we had been in classrooms a little bit, but not too much, and it gets to the point where a lot of people get to the end game, they're like, I don't really like this at all, I don't like teaching, I don't like being in the schools, and now they really do a much better job of getting y'all out there, even freshman year. Y'all got any of your ed classes that you're going to schools now, or?
I went to school, I think that they only offer like the education with the placements in the fall. So this fall, we just went and did observing hours.
Right.
And so I think that it kind of gets, like, increasingly, like...
Even observing, and like I say, even just getting out there, and being in a lot of different schools, like, and different ages, I think that's huge, because I'm always sad when people, get to the point where, like, I realize I don't really like children. And so I'm like, well, we need to get you out. We need to find you a place. But I think you'll decide that if you have enough chances to be out there trying it, and then whether you start teaching as soon as you graduate, and then go back and get masters, or whether like the whole teacher in residence program that they've got now is really good. The thing to get the masters is
is that the 5-year thing?
Yeah. That's really an awesome program.
I've heard about that.
So even though some people will give you the advice, it's good to wait, or at least teach first and then get the master's, but it would be hard to pass up that 5-year program. Just because of the way they've got it structured, it's a really good. I think it's a good way to get your master's.
Yeah.
But either way, I always say don't give up that first year, because that first year is going to be hard, no matter how prepared you think you are, masters or no masters. That's your year, like you don't know anything. You know, you wonder why you even went to school for all that time, because it's
just so different when you're like put in the actual situation.
It's very overwhelming, and you just have to, you know.
I think you learn with as you go.
You do.
Mostly.
You learn a lot as you go, and I know, you know, my niece is in about her 4th year of teaching. She finished here.
Oh, really?
But and you know, it's like she said, once those first couple of years, and now it is kind of, I don't know, they make you still jump through so many hoops, you know, and so much those first couple of years of, you know, evaluations and going through these processes, and just a lot of paperwork and a lot of like I say, jumping through hoops that makes it, I think, even harder. I wish you didn't have as much of that, because you've got enough to focus on just learning how to teach and learning how to manage a classroom. But that will probably not change. That will probably be the same. That may be worse in South Carolina. I don't know how it is in other states. But they kind of have a, you know, 2 years out where you still have to do a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know much about the teachers side of things. I just know that the Massachusetts, like, education is so, like, rigorous that I'm guessing, like, the certification and, like, check-ins and blah for, because I think that they do, like, I just remember, like, there was always people coming into the classroom, like, observing the teacher and like all this stuff.
And there is still a lot of that.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's just another thing you have to
deal with.
Put up with, yeah. And in some ways it's good, because if the person's good that's doing that, you get a lot of good feedback, and a lot of, you know, it can help. My first couple of years of teaching, the assistant principal where I was, that was the one doing the evaluations, he was very old, much older, and he was the sweetest thing. He would come in and he would, you know, sit in my class, and he would say, "You just fill out, whatever you want, and I'll sign it." You know.
Oh, that's
it was so sweet. And I would say, "Well, that's not really helping me very much, John. That's not, you know, giving me a lot of feedback there." But you know, it was funny. But you get enough of that, like with student teaching and all that too. That's where you'll get your real feedback with your actual, you know, people from here coming out and observing you and helping you out.
Yeah, I also think it's good too that, like, because I think that a lot of the times, like, teachers are like graded based on their, like, the test scores, when I think that, like, we're starting to realize that, like, test scores are really not the ultimate, like, measure of, like, you know, because there's so many other factors that influence a student's test score, that it's not just, like, if they're a good or bad teacher. Because I'm not a good tester.
Yeah, a lot of people are not good testers.
Especially standardized tests. I can't do standardized tests.
Yeah, I hope that pendulum keeps swinging.
Yeah,
because it's just crazy.
I was observing a first grade classroom. Like, they are learning, like, the numbers, where, like, numbers are on, like, a number line. Like, 88 is, like, above it is 78, below it is, like, 98. Like, they didn't, you know?
Yeah.
And they were doing, like, standardized testing, like, on the computer. Like, they did it, like, twice, and I was like, they're in first grade. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. Like, I don't remember doing that in first grade, but I don't know. I think that I remember taking standardized tests in, like, third grade.
Yeah. Most of the time they start at third grade.
Yeah. But it was crazy.
Yeah, it scares me a little bit how fast we keep moving things further and further down, you know, that, like I say, so much what they're learning in third grade now used to be in minimum fifth grade, sometimes sixth grade.
Yeah.
You know, some of the topics, even, and I guess mainly I just know math, but there's a lot of things that, you know, the kids aren't ready for, you know, maturity wise. They're not ready for certain, you know, concepts, mental maturity. It's just like some kids are not ready for algebra if they take it too young. You know, they're not at that point intellectually that they're ready to for that concept. It's hard to describe, but I just think sometimes we back it up so much that we're not giving people a fair shot.
Yeah.
We're
definitely.
trying to back it up too much and cram too much in.
Yeah, and it's just like, I feel like a lot of the times you're just teaching for the test. So it's like,
especially if that's what you're being, if that's
you're being evaluated on, that's what you're gonna like do a lot of the time.
Right.
And I just remember like, I was gonna ask like, is it like hard, because I know that when I was observing like the first grade classroom, like I talked like with the teacher and stuff, and she told me like a few of the kids were really struggling, and like they had really bad like home lives and stuff, and she didn't like know what to do about it. Like, have you like experienced like students who have like, you know, like that you can't, because that would like that like breaks my heart, and
that's
like I want to do
the hard part.
Like I would love to do anything I can, but it's like
and you do anything you can, you know, but you can only do so much. You're still just one person, but that is the hard part. That's the struggle. And sometimes, you know, depending on how many people you've got in a class, you don't even have any way of identifying that. You know, the class, you know, they put 25, 30 kids in a classroom. It's hard to even
separate them.
Give them enough attention just to even know that something's going on. You know, sometimes it's obvious, but you know, even with high school kids, you know, there were a lot of outside factors that were, you know, that come into play. You think about little kids, you know, being the only ones, but you know, if you think back to high school, there's a lot of things going on that affect them too.
The good thing about high school though is that I feel like it's more like spread out. Like there's like special ed classes, there's like CP, AP, honors.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I feel like elementary, just all of them are just thrown in.
Yeah.
To like one thing. So like the third grade classroom that I was working in, I think there was like one kid, he had like a lot of family issues that like he never learned how to read, and he was in third grade.
Wow. Yeah.
So like they had to have somebody like read to him, and they don't know why. I think that they said it was some problem at home that they couldn't like tell me. Which
so how did he make it through first and second grade? Did they just keep passing?
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but he was like a twin, and like I think that the twin knew how to read, but he didn't. So somebody had to like read to him, and then one kid had like Down syndrome, and then there were like kids in the class who like were like above, like just like whipping out like math problems, like, you know, and there were like kids who like were struggling to keep up. So it's like I feel like it might be like hard to like separate yourself.
And like it, you know, at some point when they start pulling out, you know, like for Project Challenge or whatever it's kind of like,
they've been good with like
in
the
third
programs.
grade. They start kind of pulling them out, and I guess you can always kind of group people, you know, reading groups and math groups and that sort of thing, but it's a lot of work, but you do have to try to work with every level. But it is harder in elementary because they are still thrown together. But also, you know, I always think you have to be careful not to, you know, you have to be careful with the grouping, because then sometimes somebody gets stuck, you know.
And you don't
they get
like
labeled, and they may not, that may just be one particular, something might be going on at home that year, you know, that might not really be a low level math student or a low level reading.
And I think that like sometimes though, like I feel like at elementary level, it's kind of like a good age to start taking kids out, because I remember like I would be sitting in class and like kids would like leave to go get like special help. I didn't know where they were going, but I was like, oh my god, I'm so jealous they're leaving the class. I want to go. So it's like they don't even like realize it, but then when you start getting like older, it's kind of like, oh, like they're, you know, gets like a little bit more judgmental. Right. So
that's true. You're right. In elementary, I don't think they know half the time.
What's
going on.
I just remember like I was like, oh, I want to be in that group, you know.
I was gonna say, I had my oldest son was in all the Project Challenge stuff. My youngest was not.
Yeah.
You know, but he didn't seem to know the difference. He never mentioned, you know, anybody
Yeah, no, I
or
don't. I don't
not
think
being
that
in. You know, we never talked about it. We never said anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that it wouldn't be a big deal. But yeah, I think teachers have to do a good job of making sure it's not, you know, so obvious.
Have you had any problems with parents? Because I know that that's a big thing in the whole elementary.
Yeah, that would be a big reason I got out of high school and came here, or one of the reasons. There were a couple of reasons, but no, that was a big one, was not to deal with parents as much.
Did you like have to?
Of course, it was a little different because I was at Daniel here in Clemson, so this is a specific set of, you know, you have a lot of kids, you have a lot of professors' kids, so it was a different dynamic. I mean, I love that school, but you have lots of parent involvement, which is, you know, not the case in most other schools. You know, you don't usually have much at all, but you almost have too much sometimes. So, and you know, and that school had it came from 3 communities, you know, it was Clemson and Central and 6 Mile. So that's 3 pretty diverse groups of kids.
I don't know anything about
Okay,
those
well,
towns,
it's
but
just
I'm
like,
guessing.
well, Central, you know, I mean, Central, like most people's apartments are in Central. It's just right up the road on 93.
Like near Aspen? Or the
I don't know
pier?
if that is. Probably.
I
I'm not
only
sure
know the
where that
names
is.
of things. I'm not really
Like
familiar
we're,
with the area yet.
The like where Sardi's and I'm trying to think what else is out there. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Bilo, but the Bilo closed, I think.
Is that like Home Depot?
I don't remember Home Depot.
You don't know what Home Depot is?
Mm-mm. Not over here. I live in Anderson, so I don't know where much of anything is over here.
I don't know what anything is here. I don't even know.
That's funny, yeah.
Like,
Well,
you have
anyway.
so many fast food places that I don't
Oh,
have.
it's crazy, yeah. Well, anyway, so it's my point was that even like in a school like that, you've got, and you'll have that in any school, you know, you've got certain groups that you're going to have. It's kind of different dynamic of parents. So the Clemson parents would be a different dynamic from the 6 Mile parents, because that's a real rural country, you know, countryside area. But
I feel like our parents, so we're like, they're like aggressive parents who would just be like, why aren't you?
sometimes, yeah. Yeah, and I think that helps me be a better parent of a student, just because I'm a teacher, you know, almost always right. You know, I won't say always right, but almost always right. You know, and so if I question things, you know, I try not to be overly assertive or whatever. I always try to come from the standpoint of, you know, I just need you to help me understand this. So, and most of the time, you know, it was just like if something was really blatant, like a wrong answer on a math test or something, you know, I couldn't let that
Yeah.
go. But I would just, you know, kind of just nicely say, I'm not sure how you got this, you know, I'm not sure why this is wrong, that kind of thing. But, and you want parent involvement, you know, that I think it's it's worse when they're not involved. But
Yeah, I was gonna
there's
say.
a happy medium in there somewhere.
Yeah.
They're not.
Because I know I would not want my mom to deal with, like, my mom. She would make, like, teachers, like, cry and stuff. And I would just be like, Mom, like, there's no reason for that.
Yeah, but it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
We still laugh. A friend of mine and I that started off teaching together, and she and I used to work out like at 5 in the mornings before we'd go in and teach, and we were working out one morning, and I think we were on like a stair climbing machine or something, and she still refers to that as the day I was attacked on the stair climb. A parent came up and just started yelling at me. You know, there was nowhere to go. I couldn't go. I couldn't.
Yeah, you were on the
I was on the stair, and
stairmaster.
I was like in a corner, and she's just standing in front of me just screaming at me, because her daughter was failing, and so that, you know, things like that are not fun, but
Yeah.
so, but you know, that's her baby too, I guess, but that just wasn't really the best.
Yeah, there are some
approach.
parents that I think that, like,
And this was a parent that also worked at the school. She wasn't a teacher, but she worked at the school, so there were plenty of better ways to handle that.
Yeah.
So Don't attack me on
I
that.
think Mama Bear
All the time.
sometimes will
No,
come
it does
out.
like
Will
that.
come
At
out.
that point, I didn't have children at that time, so I was really offended.
Yeah.
But,
Now
you know,
it's like
later
you're
it's
only
like,
slightly
I can kind
offended.
of see, I can kind of see it. I still would have maybe done it a little differently, and but yeah,
I just know that I'm gonna get those parents who are like, my kid would never do anything like
plenty
that.
of those out there. Yeah,
I know like parents who are like that, and like
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
even a teacher yet.
right.
So I'm just waiting for, because it's like I don't even know what to say to that. It's
Right.
not like I can be like, no, your kid did do that. Like
Right.
it's.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tricky. It's you know, you just have to be careful. But yeah, you'll definitely have some of those. But you kind of
Just like.
have your facts. You know, this is what happened. This is what happened.
Yeah, try to like empathize like where
Right,
they're coming
right.
from and like
Definitely,
why they're saying
yeah.
that and stuff like that. So that's good. And then I guess the last thing I wanted to ask was, well, one of the reasons that I wanted to become a teacher was because I feel like it's a very rewarding job, just because I know like so many teachers who have been in the business for so long and
Right.
like have had so many like kids. Like, are there any like rewarding experiences? Like, I know like it was so like cool to like go and like visit my old teachers,
Right.
but when I graduated and they were like, oh my god, I can't believe that you're graduating, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like people like coming back and like,
Yeah, I have, you know, and it's funny, because I still see, it's like, cause this is my 34th year
yeah, that's
teaching.
crazy.
And so, but it's funny, I remember the people from like my first 1 or 2 years of teaching. I can remember their names more than I can remember
Really?
last semester, you know, and I was,
That's crazy.
and it's just, I don't know what it is about that, and whether those years were so much more, you know, had more of an impact, but, you know, I had ran into somebody. I feel like it sounds like I'm always in the gym, but I'm not. But I was in the gym, and this girl came walking by me, and she said, "Hey," and I said, "Hey," and then I said her name, and you know, we talked for a little while, and she walked off, and I was with my trainer, and he said, "Who was that?" I said, I said, "She was from my first year of teaching." He said, "And you know her name?" And I said, "I remember those people like it was yesterday."
Yeah.
And, you know, and I said, "And they're..."
How old is she now? Like, how long had it been
Well,
since you
that's
saw
what's so
her?
funny. I was 21 when I started teaching, you know, so they were
Mhm.
only like 5 or 6 years younger than me, you know.
Yeah,
So she's like,
I've had
those
teachers.
students are all like in their late 40s now, you know, some are turning 50, which is amazing to me because I still
Mhm.
think of them as being, you know,
Yeah,
young.
like little.
But that's
That
why-
was 9th grade?
Yeah, yeah. And they were 9th and 10th. But yeah, but I mean, just over the years, just letters and notes and, you know, things that people have done really means a lot. You
Yeah.
know, when I think about just some of the, you know, people that write me later and say, you know, you're the reason I became a teacher, or, you know, just
Mhm.
little things that it is a very rewarding. Otherwise I wouldn't have made it this long.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started teaching, my first principal told me then, he said, "You're not going to last 5 years." And I, you know, used to say,
Really?
"Why?" He said he always thought I was too soft. He said, "You're too soft, you care too
That's
much."
what I'm scared.
He said,
I'm
"You're too,
so
you
not
get too
good with
into
it.
every child or whatever." And like I say, I was 21 and they were, you know, 16, and I had some seniors at that point. I was teaching seniors that were 18 and 19, and I was 21, and
That's crazy.
so it was, you know, he said, "Then you're gonna have to toughen up," and I don't ever think I ever really did. You know, I just learned how to balance it a
Mhm.
little bit more, but I don't think I ever lost the part of me that still cared, you know, enough about all of them.
Yeah.
But it does make it harder if you get too.
That's what I know I'm going to struggle with is
Yeah.
discipline for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, like, I mean, when they're at that age, it's kind of like you need to.
you have to, yeah. And of
But
course
it's like
it was
I'm not
worse
good
in
at
high
like
school.
yelling at
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't like to like. Because I feel like in like high school and college, it's like if you don't want to pay attention, not my problem.
right,
You know.
right. Yeah, I kind
Like-
of feel like that in college. High school, I was pretty tough.
Well, yeah, high school, I
discipline-wise.
guess.
Yeah, you still had to. They were getting pretty rough.
Because like in college, it's like you're paying
Right.
this much money. If you don't want to pay attention, then that's
Right. Or just if you want to come to class, fine. If you don't, fine.
Yeah.
But at elementary, you really have to
Yeah.
be structured.
And the woman that I interned with, these first graders were more well behaved than college students.
right.
Like she would snap her fingers and they would all go do their job
yeah.
it was just like all of a sudden and then they were silent the rest of the time. Like they did their
Right.
work and I was just like, how did you do that?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
and they're so polite. Like they say yes sir and yes ma'am. I've never heard anybody say that
Really?
before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, that's funny.
Usually it's rude if you say it in
Yeah.
the north.
Oh yeah. That's
It's kind
funny.
of mocking.
Yeah.
But they were like, yes sir, yes ma'am. I was like, oh my god, you're so cute.
I'm in the South.
Yeah, I know. They had little southern accents.
That's funny.
But they were so well behaved. And they were in first grade.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty crucial. Those first couple of years are. Yeah.
But it was crazy.
But I think that's something you'll learn too. I think you'll learn techniques for that and get better at that.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I say, you don't ever want to lose the empathy part.
Yeah.
You just have to be still authoritative enough on top of that. I
Mhm.
think kind of again finding that happy medium that.
Yeah. I know a lot of teachers do the cards where it's if you do something wrong in class.
Pulling a card or yeah. It's always something.
Mhm.
Moving your stick or moving your.
Yeah, but I feel like I would never. Because I feel like that's public humiliation. It's you have to get up and and then it's there on display for everybody to see. I don't think I would ever do something like that.
Gosh, I don't know any of them that don't.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say just my boys coming through school. I don't know any of them that didn't do something along those lines.
Mhm.
Since I never taught elementary, I don't really, know what I would have done. But like I said, I don't know anybody that didn't do some version of that.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever been. I mean, I would probably use it as a threatening technique, but I don't know if I would ever make somebody get up and pull a card. I don't know. I feel like I'd be the teacher to kill them with kindness,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
hope that they behave. But at the same time,
Yeah, you'll probably have to toughen up a little bit.
Mhm.
Now I did have one when my youngest was in first grade. He had a teacher that was really, really strict. Which
Really?
she's an awesome teacher, but she just really didn't need to be in first grade. She now teaches fifth, which is perfect for her.
Yeah.
But first grade, they used to get sad notes, with a sad face on them if they did something in class. Bless his heart, he got so many sad notes.
Oh.
And it was just for the tiniest little things, it was just, and I kept thinking, they're in first grade, they're not,
That's so
they're not.
sad.
It was really, it got to the point where he didn't pay any attention. He was like, did you, he's like, I got a sad note today. I'm like, okay, because I was not paying him any attention either at that point, but I always read it and make sure it wasn't something major, but it was always something, like he looked under the door of somebody in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, I don't care, he's in the first grade. And anyway, it was just funny, but it's like the next year, it was like he was a different child, because he never has really gotten in trouble ever since then.
Really?
But we still laugh at the number of sad notes, and it ended up we did need to have him tested, and
yeah, that's
have
the thing is
some
that
things
so
done.
many.
And she did
of it,
encourage
yeah.
that. She said, I think he needs to be tested, and he did, and he did have some issues. So
I feel like all of them at
but
that
to
age
go through a
have,
whole year of
yeah.
sad notes to get to that point, it was hard. So
a collection of
we
sad
found
notes.
some in the backyard, where he had dug them and dug a hole and put them in there.
Oh, that's so
I
sad.
need to see if he remembers that. We hadn't laughed about that in a while, but
we would have in art we would have the Mona Lisa, something, I don't remember what the painting was called, and then the Scream. So it was at the end of every class, a teacher would put up on the board what you as an entire class got.
right.
and whoever got like the most, like Mona Lisa's got like, I don't know, a pizza party or something,
That's
and like
funny.
everyone would always look to see like who got the like scream, like it was so bad.
That's hilarious. That's good. I
Yeah.
like that.
It was like art, yeah. So nobody wanted the scream, and then she'd be like, you know, if you guys don't clean up, you're gonna get the scream, and then everyone would just like be like, no, we can't.
You could do some version of that in elementary. Wouldn't
Yeah.
have to be pulling the cards or something.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm also looking forward to all like the drama that you have to deal with at the 5th grade age.
I was saying drama's moving down too. It used to just be, you know, high school drama.
And now they have phones
it's elementary school drama.
in 5th grade.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When I was interning in 3rd grade,
Instagram.
Yeah.
In 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's just scary.
They had to call a meeting on the carpet, and she had to talk, and she was like, because there was, you know, word going around the school that there was a big wedding going on.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Like two, like the 3rd graders who like had a crush, well, they were getting married. So she had to sit them down, the whole class, and be like, guys, this wedding can't go on. It's canceled for today.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
We've got to move on. And
yeah. Like, I just remember, like,
goodness.
I would be in, like, 3rd grade, and, like, there would be, like, you know, gatherings on the fields of people, like, you know.
And girls are the worst. Girls are the mean girls.
I know.
Just the cliques, just the, you know, and I think that's something else where elementary school you really have to be watching that and watching.
Yeah, I
and
got
watching
bullied all throughout it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And
but it's the
teachers
thing
have
is
to stay
that
on top
now
of it.
I feel like it's more secretive because
It is,
it's
'cause
online.
It's online. Yeah.
Like you know, like
cyberbullying.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People used to like come up to me at like lunch, but now it's like one of those things where it's like I don't even know. Like they, you know, could be like posting something about
somebody posted something, and I'd never heard of any of this. I know there's Instagram, and I know there's the fake Instagram, you know, and there's but apparently there's like three more now. There's like 3 different ones that's big in like the middle school age now. I already forgot the names of them, but she named like 3 other ones that are out there now, and I said,
I can't even keep up with my regular Instagram.
I know, yeah.
There's like little kids like that I used to like coach for. They have like their Instagrams, and they're like posting like,
oh yeah, you
know, like selfie. Like I'm like, whoa, like
I know.
I had a flip phone in like 7th grade,
right?
You know, like the little slider ones.
Oh yeah.
That was just to call my mom when I needed her.
Exactly.
And now it's like, you know,
yeah. I mean, my son just got one when he turned 13, but he's not allowed to take it to school, you know.
Yeah,
so
I feel like that's...
he just which I don't know, he really didn't need one, but he, you know, that kind of satisfied him that he has it. He just listens to music on it, and he does do Instagram, but it goes through mine, you know.
Yeah.
So
but it's like
anyway,
it's crazy
it's still
now.
scary.
And
Yeah,
I'm like, you know, that's like the stuff that I'm gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of, is that the elementary, it's getting to where it's going to be more and more of that where it used to, you know, just be discipline was the only issue, but now y'all have a lot to deal with.
Like, I was like a coach for cheerleading, and I had the same girls for like 4 years, and like, so like I like grew with them, you know, like they were like my. That's why I wanted to become a teacher, is because like I was like, oh my god, like these are like my kids, you know, and like I just noticed like in the beginning when they were, I think they were in like 4th grade when they started, and like, you know, like they were all like friends, you know, nobody really had any issues with each other, and then like this year, I mean, I'm not coaching them this year, but I still like talk to like the people who run it and stuff, and they were just saying like one of the girls dropped out of school and is moving because she got like bullied so much by the other girls on the team, friends. And I'm like, and I like, because I noticed it before I left, and I did like have to sit down and talk to them, and I was just like, you know, like you can't be so mean to each other, like, because it was online and stuff, and like I didn't really notice it, but it was like it was affecting the way that they performed.
Oh, sure it did. Yeah.
Like, you know, like they just weren't.
They weren't together. They weren't a group.
Yeah, they weren't being like a team.
Right.
And it was just like so hard because it's like, you know, like you guys were all getting along. Like, why is it now, with like now that you guys are all on social media and stuff, that it's like changing?
Right.
So I'm gonna have to deal with that as like a teacher, which is
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
hard. But I mean, I'm hoping that like all these problems that like, you know, like the bullying and like the social media, the weddings that are gonna happen.
Third grade weddings.
Yeah. The Bloody Mary. We used to have to like, you know, like the Bloody Mary.
Mhm.
Someone used to like, one of like the 5th graders, we were in 2nd
Right.
grade, one of like the 6th graders like went in and like put paint on the wall to look like Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the year, the teachers, because people would like start peeing their pants in
Yeah.
class because they didn't want to go to the
Oh
bathroom
my gosh.
because they were scared Bloody Mary was in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So we had to start having bathroom buddies because, like, I'm just really excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for like those issues
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
gonna be like, you know,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
weddings, the
Oh,
Bloody
yeah,
Mary.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be
Fun times
interesting.
ahead. Yeah.
I know.
And like I say, who knows what it'll be in a couple of years.
I
You
know.
in 3 years, it'll be a whole different ball game.
I know. Kids have creative minds. I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
And I love it. But I'm really excited. Yeah, I think this is good.